Ezekiel chapter 18 highlights the responsibility that we all have to live righteously, the responsibility we have to avoid sin. The people of Israel were repeating a false proverb, and what they were saying is this: the fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge. And what this means basically is that one generation is suffering for the generation that came before them. But God counteracts that and says that each person pays for their own sin. He then gives several examples for living righteously, and he says, if he does not eat upon the mountains or lift up his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, he does not defile his neighbor's wife or approach a woman in her time of menstrual impurity, does not oppress anyone, and it just goes on and on and on. And the people of Israel accused God of being unjust, but God responds saying that they're the ones that are unjust because they're not living according to his laws. God tells us in this chapter that he does not take pleasure in the death of the wicked, and he says that if a wicked person turns to righteousness and turns to him, and then they will live. On the other hand, if a righteous person turns to sin, then their past righteousness will not save them. Chapter 19 of Ezekiel is a song of lament for the kings of Israel. And this song uses imagery to portray the downfall of the kings. And it talks about a lioness, which is Israel. And then it talks about the lioness's cubs, which is the kings of Israel. It talks about how one of the cubs became a strong young lion and learned to tear into prey. But then it was captured and dragged to Egypt, and it's likely talking about Jehoahaz here. It talks about another one of the lioness's cubs, so Israel's kings, that grew up into a fierce lion and terrorized the land. But then it was captured in a pit and it was taken in chains to Babylon. And in this case, it's likely talking about King Jehoiachin or Zedekiah, because as we know, they were both captured at one point. After comparing the kings of Israel to the cubs of a lion, it then compares it to a vine that is uprooted. It starts off describing it as a fruitful vine, and it was once strong and flourishing with many branches, which was fit for rulers. But then it was uprooted because of God's anger with them, and then it was thrown to the ground and dried by the east wind, is what it says. It also says that the vine is now planted in a dry and barren desert, which symbolizes Judah's exile.